Bickley and Marotta. Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Only one NBA team in the past 25 years has won a title after starting 12-10 or worse, so the odds are already stacked against the Suns. But there's a big caveat here, because we do not even know who the Suns are or what they're capable of, and the hope is that this week marks a new beginning. 5 home games, the return of Bradley Beal, and hopefully the long-awaited debut of the Big Three. Because at the moment, one of the most anticipated basketball seasons in the Valley is falling flat, and many people that I've talked with agree the magic is out of the building. And while it was kind of funny for the team DJ to make fun of Steve Kerr on Friday night, Kerr isn't wrong about the vibe inside the arena. It's been terrible. And that is because there are a lot of new faces, and there isn't a ton of personality on the roster. And the promise of our own super team has been a mirage, an illusion, a vision on the horizon that always disappears when you get close, and this team is just not speaking to the Valley at the moment. One season ticket holder told me over the weekend he doesn't even like watching the current team, and if we've learned anything about sports teams in the Valley, it's that you cannot predict or manufacture a buzz. It has to be organic, it has to be real, it has to be earned, and hopefully it will starting Tuesday night. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
I mean, we're here in our facility every day. We have all the resources to, remain healthy and get your treatment in and get your work in. So it's definitely not a time to get comfortable around the holidays. I think it's an important time of the season to get back on track, and even with guys out in this next game or two, still trying to find ways to, take care of these that we need to.
Devin Booker at practice yesterday talking about taking advantage of this end-of-the-year homestand. It's not just these 5 games. They got a ton of home games coming up. To your point, I get your point. Team individuals, they can create a non-organic buzz. Mm-hmm. Teams, it's got to come together.
It's got to come together. You've got to speak to your fan base in ways. There's got to be a real connection.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of reaction after the game on Friday. People just commenting on, it hasn't been fun.
No.
And I see that point. And I think the players themselves are getting tired of not that the questions are being asked, but that they have to be asked.
Yeah.
Like, what is Bradley Beal going to bring? We're still talking about that 23 games into a season. More than a quarter of the season is gone.
Yeah, exactly. And again, a few of the people that I reached out to a whole handful of folks who have pretty much been at every game because I really wanted a full 360 view of what they think about the arena experience. Because like I said, Friday night watching it on television, I'm like, this is about as weird and disjointed a crowd as I could ever imagine. And I'll be fair in saying that a lot of these opinions came after that loss on Friday night. So fans are not going to be in a good mood by definition. But there is some of this in play here. And you look at the teams that really speak to the Valley, there is something special about them. They're either young, they're homegrown, they have a goofball or two. It's all that stuff.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out last week, and you're so right about this, there's any number of triggers for Suns fans right now. Tyrese Halliburton, LeBron James winning the in-season tournament, Mikal Bridges, all that stuff. So the good news is Bradley Beal is not an insignificant piece dropped down into the mix. This is an all-star. This is an incredibly skilled offensive player with incredible athleticism. And when you start looking at mapping some of the issues on this team, you mentioned it. When teams are swarming Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, that third guy, that open guy in the corner, isn't always making the jump shot. Bradley Beal's going to make that jump shot. The point guard, when one of the guys is resting on the bench, Kevin Durant will have a star now on the court with him at all times. At least
and a ball handler.
And a ball handler. So then maybe once Bradley Beal is here and people see, okay, this is what it looks like, now you can backfill roles. And you got time. We're not even at Christmas yet.
Yeah.
So there is time to create this. But I do think that this team is falling flat, not necessarily in the standings as much as it is just to people's expectations.
The 22-game start has also, one thing it has provided is an opportunity for everybody to have an opinion on what the Suns are missing.
Yes.
Like, what do they need? And there's been talk about, hey, you need a bigger, more ferocious rebounder up front. We've talked about the need for a backup point guard. Do you go out and look for that? This is, to Devin Booker's point, a very, very crucial stretch because it looks like health-wise it's finally coming together. Mm-hmm. Devin Booker's playing at a high level. Kevin Durant, while he's been out there, has played at a high level and has only missed a handful of games. Bradley Beal's getting ready to come back. It started on Friday night against Sacramento, and that was the manufactured game on the schedule.
Yep.
But that is a run of 12 out of their next 15 games at home. So when this stretch wraps up January 7th against Memphis, of those remaining 14 games, if you can reel off 10 wins and at home, or not, and at home has not been kind to the Suns either. They have a losing record at Footprint Center this year.
That also has, and there is another factor in sort of the experience. It's really quite something. But again, if this basketball team with Bradley Beal starts, getting on those lethal offensive roles and runs in games and just turns 6-point games to 24-point leads, it's like the old Warriors did back in the heyday of the Splash Brothers. Mm-hmm. You'd be within 6, and then you'd blink your eye and you're down. Now you're down 20. And you're like, what just happened to this basketball game? That's what happened to the basketball game. And in theory, the Suns should be that kind of team.
Yes, internally the talk from the Suns has been, look, I don't know how you're going to guard us when we're all together.
Exactly.
I think there's a good dose of that around the league, too. But, it's been put on the back burner because we haven't seen it.
And let's remember, as extremely mediocre and frustrating as this season has been, it has already included a 7-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's there. It's in there somewhere. It's just gotta happen.
I agree, and I just knock on proverbial wood because this is really, as I said earlier, one fan had the astute observation that last year looking at Kevin Durant in street clothes was a source of wonder. Ain't that something? We got KD, right?
Yeah.
As DA once said. Now it's the sight of it. It's causing negative reactions. And he hasn't missed a ton of games, but it's just the visuals of it all.
Now the feeling is, wow, we're seeing way too many of Kevin Durant's outfits.
Too many of his hats. Right.
This stretch, by the way, Golden State Tuesday, Brooklyn Wednesday, the Knicks on Friday, which is Sean Marion night, by the way. That's the night his number goes up into the rafters. And then Washington to close out. Then there's 2 on the road at Portland, at Sacramento, home for 1 on Christmas Day against Dallas, then 1 on the road at Houston, and then another long homestand. Charlotte, Orlando, Portland, the Clippers, Miami, and Memphis. There's some good teams in there. Orlando's really good.
Yeah.
Houston's better. Mm-hmm. The Clippers are getting healthy. Miami is Miami. But some winnable games. This is a very, very big stretch.
Yes, it is.
The atmosphere game, the Brooklyn game.
Yeah. Yes,
That's
going to
be interesting.
Yes, it will
in
be.
the arena.
Do you think they'll do anything for Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson coming back? You think there'll be a...
They got to do both, right?
You would have to. I mean, yeah.
You can't just do Mikal.
Yeah, right. His reception, their reception is going to be pretty good.
I don't think they'll do anything separate. I don't know anything, but I would imagine it would be, since they were so linked together, it would be a combo.
The twins. Yeah.
Pictures of them at the lemonade stand,
dressed as Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You're going to get people sad, man.
I know.
Dancing together.
Dancing, yes.
Flashing those white smiles.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.